Alright you guys, what's up? Welcome back to another Jeep vlog. So it's been 2 full weeks since the last time I drove the Jeep, and I think when I did one of these vlogs. I did a video the other day where I showed some of the upgrades I've done to the Raptor. Small stuff, but very functional. You know, it something doesn't have to be super expensive to be functional. So I thought that was cool. Geez, what do we got going here? Forest Rangers. Alright, Forest Rangers are out. Our Forest Service. Looks like they're doing road cleanup, which that's cool. They shouldn't have to, though. I mean, man, people who leave messy campsites and who how can you throw stuff out your window? I just don't get that. I've never been able to do that in all my life. Even when I was young and stupid, you know, did reckless things, I never threw stuff out the window. It's the most ridiculous thing ever. Well, someday I'm gonna catch someone who's like throwing bottles and cans in their campfire. I'm gonna catch them before they leave their campsite. We'll have a talking to them. So where was I at? I was having a conversation while driving up here. I was talking to the windshield. You know, it's like the camera's on the windshield, but it's pretty nice out today. It's actually a bit breezy out. Weird. It's very strange. I don't know if it has something to do with like the lockdown being lifted pretty much here in Arizona. But there's a ton of people out. This area where I'm at here, it's not really that far away from civilization, but I usually, you know, there could be other people and you don't hear them, but I actually hear quads riding around out in the distance. Kind of carries through here because it's nice and quiet, but it's interesting. I'm just curious if it's because it's a Saturday or if it's because people are coming out of that lockdown. But I'm honestly around here, in my town, no one was really locking themselves down. I mean, if you go out on the street, there's not that much traffic as it is, and it all looked normal to me. But who knows? You never know. It's pretty interesting though how busy it is. That's why usually when I go out, I go pretty far out to where it's going to eliminate most vehicles. You know, the tougher the terrain it is, the less likely you're to see someone. If you stay on really nice, well-maintained dirt roads, you might even see some cars back in there, and that's a little embarrassing when you think you're doing something. Yeah, I'm off-roading. No, you're not. A Honda Civic just went by. So I think I started talking a little bit, maybe not, about I got a vehicle. So just a little bit of background. So if you don't know, I have another channel that I do with my business partner. We have multiple channels. We do a lot of gaming videos. We have a cooperative gaming channel, and I've got my solo gaming channel. I've got my solo outdoor channel, and we've got a cooperative outdoor channel that we call Can We Survive? Now, we haven't posted there in about a year. Part of it due to what's going on now. You know, it's like when we get the money together and the time, we'll make trips. He's coming from Toronto, flies here, we do our adventures. and it's a ton of fun. It's like vacation and everything all rolled into one. But we've always been in one vehicle. There's two of us, and it's been fine. You know, you throw your tents out, but I thought it would be cool if we had two vehicles, one for each of us. So I decided, and that was one reason. And the second reason is because there's a few out there, but there's not usually a lot of budget builds or budget vehicles that these big YouTubers use. They go out in their fancy sponsored rich man stuff like these things, and it's fun. It's great fun to watch, but it's hard to really connect to that saying, well, with a Jeep, it's one thing because a basic Jeep can do almost everything that this thing can do, like right up to like 93%. And the same goes with other vehicles. A lot of this is kind of a passion project when you just got yourself a vehicle and you wanna do things to it, right? Modifying things is fun. But that all being said, I thought I would quote something like a budget term as under $10,000, right? And the idea would be to keep it pretty much in stock form with the exception of outfitting it with things that would facilitate being able to camp and, overland, things like that. Maybe a roof rack, a better spare tire carrier, better tires, things like that. But other than that, stock vehicle. That way, no matter what 4x4 you may have, you can see. And then I'll have a budget vehicle that's under 10. Then my mid-range vehicle will be the Raptor. And then my high range would be this, as you're talking about like dollar values. And go through and do a complete video on each one showing you just what it's got on it, what's stock and what's not. And then be able to do adventures in choose the vehicle you want to do. Now, this one here, I don't like traveling in it that much. I don't like driving more than a couple hundred miles. This thing, I love it for anything that is the most rough, muddy, rocky, hilly terrain there is. Because it's got the lockers, it's got the 37s on it, it's got all that stuff. The Raptor is great. It's a great four-wheel drive. And you can do high speeds on it through the desert, but I can do much longer ranges with that thing in comfort. And then the new vehicle, which is a Toyota, I'm not going to say what kind it is yet. The new vehicle is a Toyota. The new budget vehicle is a Toyota. It should kind of hopefully check all the boxes that the Raptor does, just in a different way, a much cheaper way. So one vehicle's 15 years old. The Raptor's 10 years old. The Jeep is 5 years old. So 5, 10, 15 years old. It's going to be $10,000 and under. I guess the Raptor would be like between 20 and 30,000, somewhere in there. No more than 30, but I don't know of much under 20. And then this would be like 50 plus, something like that if you had to put numbers on it, all right? And it could be whatever vehicle you have. It doesn't have to be anything like mine, right? It doesn't have to be a Jeep. It doesn't have... Your budget vehicle could be, well, it's whatever you have if it's a budget vehicle. If it's a new 4Runner or something, that's going to be up there with this one. You just take it. I want to be able to show that you can go out and enjoy yourself and have all the fun and adventure that you want, no matter what type of vehicle you have, as long as it's a four-wheel drive, okay? That's going to be the base. You can't go below that. It's got to be a four-wheel drive. And what you're going to see is things like a four-wheel drive doesn't have lockers like this. You're probably going to want to make sure you have some sort of traction boards like Max Tracks. It'd be nice to have a winch. Funny thing is, I have a winch on this, but it's got lockers. That doesn't mean I'm not going to get stuck. So that's why this thing's pretty capable. I don't have traction boards here, though. They were just too much money at the time, and I don't know if any of those knockoff ones are worth getting. Max Tracks are like $300 a pair, and you need 4 of them. So they sell them in pairs. So to get a set, that's, what I say, $300? That's $600 for 4. I think. I'm pretty sure that's what it is. That's a lot of money for some plastic on the ground that you're hoping you never use. But if you adventure hard enough, you're going to use them. So that's why I don't have those. There's some things that I just can't get past my mind, but who knows? I'm trying to work with some people to see if we can outfit the Toyota with like a roof rack and stuff like that. I think it's going to be a lot of fun because it'll be challenging. I'll do a video pretty soon showing it. And then after I show that, then I can go through and start with that. And we'll do a video covering what it's got on it, what its capabilities may or may not be. And I'll take it out and do some testing, and that'll be in that video. Then hopefully, maybe by that time, I might have new tires for the Raptor. I don't know yet, but I can still do that video. And then obviously we can do the video on this where, you know, some people have asked me in more detail about like what axles do I have? What, you know, what suspension is this? What wheels and tires and what mods do I have on this thing? Which maybe some people are looking at getting for themselves and want to know what my opinion on it is. And I think that's very interesting. I like watching videos like that myself. So I think it'll be pretty fun. But the biggest thing is I'm really looking forward to these cooperative trips with Niels, to where he'll be in a vehicle and I'll be in a vehicle, right? I may be in the Jeep, I may be in the Raptor, and he's going to be in the Toyota. And it should be pretty fun. I'm completely going to set that thing up for success. It's not like I'm going to... At first, when I first had this idea, I thought maybe I might troll him with some, like, you know, bright pink Xterra or something. Who knows? But I didn't do that. I ended up finding a killer deal. You know, if one thing this lockdown has done for us, it's put things on sale out there that don't usually go on sale. And I got a killer price on this vehicle. Killer price. I think it's pretty cool. And I'm pretty excited to, you know, put some stuff on it and go take it out and see how it does. It's got complete, like, highway tires on it, though. So they're not even, they're not even all-terrains. They're full-on. I haven't had a vehicle that, I don't even know what they're called, because I haven't had a vehicle forever that doesn't have at least, at the minimum, an all-terrain tire, let alone a mud terrain like these Falcons here. These things are beasts. I love these. So these are Falcon Wild Peak mud terrains on here, 37 1250s, and I believe they're on 17-inch rims. Yeah, 17 by 8 is the way to go on like the Raptor and this 17 by 8. My new Method wheels are 17 by 8 for the Raptor. That gives you like a ton of strength in the wheel, but it gives you enough sidewall to where if you need to air down, you can air down and actually get some better traction out of that. You don't want to go any bigger than 17. Some people go 16, some go 15. It limits, depending on the wheel size you have, it'll limit the size of the tire. You have to go that metric size, you know, like 285, 70 R, you know. Forget all that. Just give me a tire that actually says 33, 35, 37 by whatever. Oddly enough, most of these tires, if you don't know it, most 35s like BFG, like a KO2, their 35-inch tires actually like 34 and a half. Where Falcon actually runs closer to the actual number. I think Falcon's 35 is like 34.8. So it's really close to being a true 35. So you want to look into those details if you're looking into tires too. In Arizona, or at least in northern Arizona here, when there's a fire ban, there's no shooting. You can't go shoot in the desert. You can't go shoot in the forest. No shooting. There's no shooting even on private property. So if I owned like an acre right here where I'm at, I couldn't shoot here legally because there's a fire ban in effect. Because I guess a ricochet could start a fire, whatever it is. So when they say fire ban, it means no campfires and no target shooting out in the desert. Which that's okay. Every year has it, and it, you know, lasts for however long. I think last year was 2 months. I hadn't been out to the range in a long time, so that kind of sucks. But it's in effect. Good thing is I didn't know about it, and where you go into these national forests, like the access roads coming in, they'll actually put out those like you know, the big signs. They have the generator or the solar on them. LEDs, like saying, you know, accident ahead, or they tow the little truck up and it says fire ban. No campfires, no shooting. That's what it said. That's about 20 miles back. So that's pretty cool. So, you know, so people don't say, I didn't know. You know, ignorance of the law is never an excuse. That's the same thing like in traffic, right? If you didn't know there was a seatbelt law and you're like, well, I didn't know. Well, ignorance of the law isn't an excuse. So here's your ticket. Here's your sign. It's nice to get out. Nice to get out today. Yesterday I made the video where I showed you all the little Raptor things I was doing. And then today I actually planned on kind of going on an off-road adventure, but I had some other things going this morning and I didn't end up doing it. But I'm pretty excited about what I'm doing with the Raptor. So the Raptor to me project is going to be long-term. You know, at first I was all, oh, I'm going to do this, that, and the other thing. And I looked at the pricing and the suspension's got to wait. It's just way too much money. But that's okay, because even though the suspension is pretty worn for off-road, it's rebuildable suspension. It probably should have been rebuilt once or twice already. I don't know how much the previous owner or owners off-roaded that thing, but I've off-roaded it already pretty hard, and it does good. It's doing really good. So I'm fine with that. I got the wheels, I'm going to do the tires, and that's going to be good for the Raptor, right? I'm going to be able to take it out once I finish what I'm going to do with the bed of the Raptor, and that'll all be shown. I'm working on trying to get some load bars to go across that tracked system I have. So that should be good. So really, really more so, as much as I thought the Raptor build was going to be, it's going to be more about this new Toyota budget build, right? Because it's bone stock. 2006, actually it was bought in 2005. So we'll call it 2005. 2005, bone stock. The guy who I bought it from was the original owner, and he never went off-roading with it. Never went off-roading with it. So that can be a good thing and a bad thing. If you have a four-wheel drive that you never shift in a four-wheel drive and get the CVs or your axles, drive shafts, get all your bearings turning, that could be bad. So if you own a four-wheel drive, and I would say try and find dirt. Don't do it on the pavement, because you're just asking for trouble. Get out in just a dirt road. Shift it in a four-wheel drive. Drive a little bit, drive some, back up some. Shift it into four low, depending on if it's electronic, transfer case, if you got manual hubs, all that. If you got lockers, e-lockers, engage your e-lockers. If you got air lockers, engage your air lockers. You want to do that every couple months, especially if you do a lot of road driving where you're just running in two-wheel drive, but you've got something like this where it's all modified. Definitely go through that and get out on a dirt road and just do it before you need to, because you may find that it doesn't work. That's just something I've learned. That's something I've done all through my career of off-roading. I don't even know if that's recommended, but I would recommend it. Number one, what could it hurt? Okay, what could it hurt to get out on a dirt road close to home and make sure that everything's functioning? Make sure that those bearings are turning and all that stuff. You might shift it in here like, then one of your hubs or something needs to be greased, looked at, something like that. And then every once in a while, if you're rotating your own tires, make sure when you have it up, you check your wheel bearings, because anything with big wheels and tires, especially if you guys are pushing your offsets out, you put a lot more stress on your wheel bearings. You don't want your wheel bearings to go. All you do is like shimmy the tire back and forth, and you should be able to feel if that wheel bearing is good. Just a couple little things. But I'm pretty excited about continuing on doing the stuff that I'm doing. I'm really excited about the build on this budget thing, because I think it's going to be really fun. I'm super happy with the vehicles that I have to go do different types of off-roading. And then finally to get back and go on a trip with my buddy, and he's going to show up and he's going to have a vehicle to drive, and we're going to have our walkie-talkies. We'll have, all the stuff. It should be really fun. Should be a lot of fun. But I'm going to hang out here a little while longer. Hope you guys are all doing well. Anyway, that's going to do it for me today. Thanks for watching.